All right, so welcome. Things we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk, be talking about choosing your first year courses with a focus on the life science programs in particular, making your timetable, and what your timetable is your schedule for the week. It's when you're in university courses, it's very different than high school. In high school, you showed up at the same time every day and you ended at the same time every day, and your entire day was full with your courses that were scheduled for you. In university, it's a very different process where you might have some days with no courses, or you might have some days that have just one course. Your courses could start at 9 a.m., they could end at 9 p.m. So um, you may have some days where there's big blocks of time in between your courses, and I will show you today how you can figure all of that out and to make a timetable that works for you. We'll talk briefly about paying your fees and completing your registration, which is two parts. Course enrollment is one part of registration, paying your fees is the second part, and then that gets you fully registered, which is the goal. And then we're going to talk about some important dates and deadlines that you really need to be aware of. And I'm so glad that you're here today. It really shows that you're starting to prepare and think about this stuff, which is really great. All right. So when you're thinking about what courses you want to take, you want to start by looking at all of your resources. So um, starting with the registrar's office, here we are your guides towards completing your degree. We take, we answer emails, registrar.innis@utoronto.ca, which is an email address that you've been given since you were thinking about coming to U of T. Is a great first stop. You can email any one of us directly. So you can email me directly or any one of the other team members here in the registrar's office. You can walk in, you can have a virtual appointment, you can have an in-person appointment. We can even do a phone call if you want to do that. There are lots of different ways to reach us. We have slightly over 2,000 students, and we typically see over half of our student population in one-on-one appointments every year. So please make use of our services. The second is your online planning tools, the academic calendar and timetable builder, the Innis 101 Quirkus that you're accessing this event through today. The Arts and Science Current Student site, their Arts and Science is the faculty to which you belong in the Faculty of Arts and Science. There's like many faculties here at U of T, and the one you belong to is the Arts and Science, Faculty of Arts and Science, and they have a vested interest in making sure that you understand all of this information. And so there's great stuff on that site. By the way, all of these slides will be posted onto the Innis 101 Quirkus as well, so you'll be able to access all of these um, uh, hyperlinked information. Acorn. Acorn is where all of your course management happens. That is the site where you use to enroll in your courses, to manage your courses, to find out your fees, to access many of the other different support networks that are available to you in arts and science, like Awards Explorer and Degree Explorer and some of the other things that you'll become very familiar with. But Acorn is where all of the course management magic happens. And then Degree Explorer helps you keep track of um, your progress towards completing those 5 degree requirements that I just talked about in the last session. Program-specific inquiries, please go to the departments. The undergraduate administrators are there to support you and answer program-specific questions. Again, I'm a generalist. I don't have the answer to the question, what is the difference between biological chemistry and biochemistry? I don't know. They both sound the same to me. Departments know, because that is their job to know. So go to the departments and find out program-specific questions there. All of their contact information is in the academic calendar, as I showed you. And then helpful resources. You have access to upper year students. You've already all been assigned e-mentors. Use them. They're great resources. Other upper year students. So the e-mentors have all been trained. Upper year students, everybody wants to give you their advice and their experiences. I don't know if you spent any time on Reddit at all, you'll see. Um, just proceed with caution because upper year students will tell you information based on their experience, but things may change. For example, there's a new math course this year called Math 130 that are it's intended for all first year life science students. This course didn't exist last year. It's starting this fall. So if you get information from upper year students or if you know any graduates from U of T, they might tell you to take a different math course. You might be confused. Just proceed with caution. Use all of your resources and double check. All right, moving along to the next slide. All right, just some screenshots of some of the helpful resources that I showed you about. There's an order to this operation. The first is to use the academic calendar, program areas A to Z, to figure out which departments and programs it is that you think that you might want to pursue. The next in the order of operations is to use the timetable builder. And the timetable builder is a document we'll spend some time on today, and I'll show you how it works. Once you made a list of the different courses that you want to take, you'll use the timetable builder to plan out your schedule. And once you've made a plan, then you transfer everything into Acorn. Acorn is, as it says here in the description, a hub for everything that you need to manage your student life. And Acorn is where you specifically will enroll in courses. And you can do that even now. You can put courses in your enrollment cart, and I recommend that you do that in advance of your July 16th if you're an incoming first year student, or July 13th if you're a second year incoming transfer student. That's your course enrollment day, but put all of your courses in your enrollment cart earlier than that, so that on your course enrollment day, you can very quickly just hit enroll in all of the courses that you planned on to make the process much more smooth. All right, so here's two examples. I literally cut and paste this from the academic calendar using ecology and evolutionary biology major and a biochemistry major. And I've highlighted here the courses that they want you to take in your first year. And you can see that the courses are largely the same. So Bio 120 and Bio 130, Chem 135 and Chem 136, or Chem 151. If you see a course divided by a slash, it means or, so you have that option. And then Math 130 or Math 135 and Math 136, I'm going to get into in a couple of slides the difference between all of these versions of first year calculus. But that's what they are. These are all different versions of first year calculus. Math 130 is that new math course that I talked about that didn't exist before now. This is a course that's specifically designated for life science students. So and students in the life sciences admission category have restricted enrollment into this course. So if I were in the math and physical sciences admission category, for example, and I thought that I might like to take Math 130, I wouldn't be able to enroll in it because it's specifically for life science students. So you can see you can make yourself eligible for a variety of different programs just by taking these 3 credits worth of courses: bio, full year of bio, full year of chemistry, and full year of calculus. These 3 credits worth of courses are really your 3-pack for life sciences, with the exception of psychology. Psychology is the only one that doesn't require all of these. Psychology, which is considered a life science here at U of T, is the only requirement is Psych 100, PSY 100, which is a half-credit course. The minimum requirement for being admitted at the end of your first year to any program is that you've earned at least 4 credits. And you can see here in the description the enrollment requirements. A student who's completed 4 credits may enroll. Some programs are open enrollment, which means they have no barriers to admission to the program. Ecology and evolutionary biology is an example of that. If you're interested in this program, you can go ahead and join it and be actively enrolled in it at the end of your first year. So all program enrollment happens once you've earned at least 4 credits or on the path towards completing 4 credits. But in your first year, you still want to take the biochemistry and calculus courses because they act as prerequisites for your upper year courses. Biochemistry is a limited enrollment program, which means that there is a barrier to admission. The department has laid out some criteria and they will evaluate your admissibility based on how you do in these first year courses. So it's not a guarantee that you get in. In biochemistry and calculus, they're looking for at minimum at least a 60% in each one of these courses, and an average among those 3 credits worth of courses of no lower than 70%. Meeting the minimum mark doesn't necessarily guarantee you admission to the program. They'll take the best of the students who apply. So the better you do, the more program options you have. All right, so biochemistry and calculus. Here's another example of other life science programs, pathobiology and physiology. You can see that, again, biochemistry and calculus are required and recommended for first year students. They also include physics as part of their first year requirements for completion of the program, but no department will require more than 3 credits for admissibility. So you need a minimum of 4 credits to be eligible to apply to any program, but no department will prescribe more than 3 credits that you have to take in first year for admissibility, but they may have other first year required courses to take. So for example, in physiology and pathobiology, they say we want you to take biochemistry and calculus. In physiology, it says biochemistry and calculus or physics. But then in your first or upper year, you can take, in the case of pathobiology, physics, and in the case of physiology, whichever one you didn't take before. So if you took physics in your first year, then in your second year, you would need to take the calculus. So for programs like these, if you're thinking about physiology specialist or pathobiology specialist, it might make the most sense to take all 4 in your first year. But if you can't fit it into your schedule, that's okay. You can move one to an upper year. All right, moving along. Okay, and I've just listed here some programs require both physics and math, but not necessarily in the same year. All right, so I'm going to take a pause here and go through a description for you in detailed fashion of how to read a course description. So this example, this Chem 222 course, I took directly out of the calendar. There's a lot of information here. In every course description, on the upper left-hand corner, you'll find the course code. Remember, I said all course codes have 8 characters, and each one of those characters actually has meaning. This is a half-credit course taught on the St. George campus. It's a 200-level chemistry course. Next comes the course title. Directly underneath that gray bar, you'll find the number of class time hours required for the course. So this is a half-credit course, which means the course is taught. Actually, this is not universally true, but in most cases, a half-credit course is semester-based, which means it starts in September and ends in December, or it starts in January and ends in April. In most cases, that's the way that it is, and that in most cases, a full credit course runs the full academic year. So in this case, it's a half credit course, semester-based. There are 12 weeks in a semester, so 24 lecture hours and 12 tutorial hours. So it's 3 hours of class time per week, 2 in lecture, 1 in tutorial. A lecture is a formal presentation by the course instructor who's giving their lesson to a large group of students, often in a lecture hall. The main goal is to deliver information, explain concepts, cover course material in a structured way. Tutorials break down that large group meeting into smaller clusters of students, and they're led by TAs or teaching assistants. And in your tutorial is where you have an opportunity to clarify concepts or ask questions or get more detailed information on the lesson that the lecturer gave in the lecture earlier that week. in your tutorial, the focus is on discussion, problem solving, small group activities. Um, there could also be a lab, or which is called a practical here. And if that was the case, then they would show practical hours. So this course doesn't have a practical. Um, and a practical is where you do your hands-on um, experiments. And I'll show you because your Chemistry 135 and Chemistry 136 course will have practicals, and I'll show you how you can schedule those. Okay. Next comes a very brief course description, and then the next couple of terms are ones that you'll really want to keep an eye out for. So in this case, the prerequisite, and as I mentioned earlier, prerequisite means prior preparation. The prerequisite for this course is Chemistry 135 and Chemistry 136 or Chemistry 151 with a minimum mark of 63%. So you in those courses, remember if a course is separated by comma or a semicolon or a plus sign or an ampersand, it means and a slash, it means or. And one of these first year calculus courses and physics. So there's a lot of prerequisites. So in order to be able to take Chem 222, you already needed to have passed these other courses. You can see why it might make sense for you to plan this year and maybe do a little advanced planning for year 2, because if you want to take Chem 222 in your second year, then you'll know, all right, I better make sure that I have chemistry, calculus, and physics done in my first year so that I can be eligible to take Chem 222 in my second year. A co-requisite is a course that you take at the same time as that course. So for students who are taking Chem 222 also need to take one of these, the Chem 228 or one of the second year calculus courses listed there. Exclusions are courses that mean if there are courses listed after the term exclusion, if you've taken those courses already, you're excluded from taking Chem 222. So in this case, you can see that Chem 220, if you've taken that course, you're excluded from taking Chem 222. You can't take it for credit, or one of these other courses. This is a great example because it shows you the very few examples where you'll see courses listed from one of the other campuses. So the CHMB course H3 is a Scarborough course, and then the other two courses are UTM courses. If you've taken any of those courses, you cannot take Chem 222 for credit. And then the last item here is the breadth requirement. No surprise, this course falls under breadth category 5, physical and mathematical universities. Okay, so as I showed you briefly earlier, there are a lot of different variations of first year calculus, and they relate to different intensities of calculus that you might need for upper year courses. The Math 133 is a calculus that is most closely associated with commerce and economics. It is not a course that you can take to complete any program requirements in the life sciences. So avoid taking Math 133. Math 130 and Math 135. So Math 130 is that brand new course. Math 130 and Math 135 is calculus level 1A, and it is they have the same exact learning objectives, but Math 130 has examples that are related to the life sciences. So Math 130 is the course that you're going to want to take in your first year. If the program that you're interested in requires a full year of calculus, and not all of them do, the second half to Math 130 or Math 135 is Math 136. Math 130, Math 135, Math 136, this is the practical applications of first year calculus. These are calculus courses that most life science students will take. If you're interested in a more accelerated version of calculus or calculus with proofs, or you think that you might be going into a program that requires a deeper understanding, a more abstract math, then Math 148 plus 149 is a good option for you. For those of you who have been already looking at this stuff and are looking for a course called Math 137, that course no longer exists. It's been broken down into two half-credit courses and is now called Math 148 and Math 149. And then the highest level of first year calculus, and this is really mostly intended for students who are pursuing a specialist in math program, would take Math 158 and Math 159, formerly called Math 157. So it's a lot of different math codes to tell you. The bottom line is for most life science students, Math 130 plus Math 136 is the way to go. Chemistry offers two different options. Chem 135, Chem 136 is the standard combination of chemistry. That's physical chemistry and organic chemistry that life science students take. If you're thinking about pursuing a chemistry program, or you really like chemistry and you want to take a more advanced, accelerated version of chemistry, then Chem 151 is a good option for you. If you're thinking about doing a specialist that involves chemistry, Chem 151 is a good option for you. But really, Chem 135, Chem 136 is the standard courses for life science students. Chemistry 135 and Chem 136 and your biology 120 and bio 130 require labs, but the labs are on alternating weeks. So one week you would have bio and the next week you have chemistry. If you're taking chemistry 151, there is lab every single week. So you wouldn't be able to alternate that with biology. So just know that Chem 151 is a more accelerated version of the course, more advanced, higher level. Also, it includes inorganic chemistry and has labs every single week. And physics, again, there's a standard version of physics 131 and 132, or if you're thinking about pursuing a specialist program in physics or a major in physics, then you might want to take the more advanced version, which is physics 151 and 152. Again, 131, 132, 135, and 136, and Math 130 and Math 136 are the standard courses for life science students and totally acceptable by your programs. Okay. All right. So I've mentioned these courses a lot. So I know out of the 5 credits I'm planning on taking in my first year, 3 of those credits are going to be from biology, chemistry, and calculus. Now I have 2 other credits to play with. All right. It could be physics or it could be some other elective course. There are some special opportunities for first year students. You may have run across them in some emails you've gotten from the university or just in your own research. First year foundations, or they're often called FYF courses, are small classroom experiences. So your bio 120 course has a class size of about 1,500 in the class. So it's in our largest lecture hall. You will be among a lot of students who are in that lecture. The first year foundation courses, the ONES program courses, and courses like these are really designed to help first year students transition to university learning by giving you an experience that you're likely more comfortable with. So FYF courses and ONES program courses are limited in class size to about 30 students. Most have about 25. They are courses that count towards your degree requirements. They count towards your breadth requirements. They are taught on and by professors on niche topics. So like really specific topics rather than broad like general introduction to it's like it's different than like your intro to biology or your intro to political science or intro to economics course where they're going to give you a little information about a lot of different things. First year foundation courses and ONES program courses are much more specific and much more niche. There are a ton of different interesting first year foundation courses. Every department offers a few. So you can spend a little bit of time in the academic calendar under F you can find all of the first year foundation courses listed, and really there are hundreds of them. There are, I think it's 13 first year foundation courses that are connected to Innis. Now, these courses have um, uh, are from a variety of different departments, so departments across the arts and sciences, but these ones have a special relationship to Innis. Innis College students have priority access to enrolling for the first full week of course enrollment from the 16th to the 23rd. Students have priority access to enrolling in one of these first year foundation courses at Innis. And you can go to the FYF at Innis link off of the Innis College homepage to see what these courses are. And then there's the ONES program. The ONES program, First Year Foundations, the objective is all the same. It's a small classroom experience. So ONES programs are specifically offered by the college and usually related to something that's a part of the college. So for Innis, for example, since we have the cinema studies and writing and rhetoric program here, our ONES program courses are related to cinema studies and creative writing and journalism and different aspects of writing. And you can, again, find that information on our webpage. For First Year Foundations and ONES program courses, you can take as many as you like, but we advise you take no more than 1 credit worth of First Year Foundations or ONES program courses because they generally don't count towards any program admission. They're breadth requirement, they're elective courses. They're typically not related to any program that you're planning on pursuing. So, try not to fill up your schedule with too many of these courses. And then the last thing I want to talk about specifically with respect to first year Innis life science students is the FLIC. So you may have gotten an email already from U of T Central about the first year learning communities, or FLCs, or FLIC, as we affectionately call them. These are small groups of first year students at Innis. We have an Innis College specific FLIC where we, and I say we because I'm the staff advisor to the Innis College FLIC, and they're the faculty advisor and 2 upper year student peer mentors who are both FLIC alums from previous years and our current upper year Innis life science students who will prepare programming for you each week. And it could be a study group, it could be a session on how to secure a research position, or every year we take the FLIC life science students on a trip to the Medical Sciences Anatomy Museum, which is a site to see and not open to other students. I mean, this is a unique experience for first year students. And the FLIC will also, if you apply and are admitted to the FLIC will also pre-enroll you in the same sections of your biology, chemistry, and calculus courses that you'll be taking in your first year with your other Innis College life science FLICies. So you don't have to enroll in those courses. The FLIC will do it for you, and you'll be in the same sections as the other students that you'll get to know because you'll be meeting weekly on Mondays from 1 to 2:30. That's our FLIC meeting time every week. And then you'll see all of the same students that's in your FLIC, which is like a maximum capacity of about 30 students in your bio, chemistry, and calculus courses. So it's really lovely. Our faculty advisor is the former undergraduate chair of the chemistry department, Dr. Andy Dix. And we have 2 upper year student peer mentors who are just so excited to go through your first year with you and help support you. So I highly recommend you apply for the FLIC. All right, moving along and worrying about timing. All right, strategies for choosing courses. So select courses first based on programs in which you're interested. If you're thinking about taking 5 credits in your first year, then think about a list of elective courses you might be interested in, and then consider courses that you might want to take to fulfill your breadth requirements if you have other breadth requirements that you still need to fulfill, and keep your options open. There's so much here for you, thousands and thousands of courses. Really explore. Okay, And I feel like I've talked about electives enough, so we're going to move along. I guess one thing to note is that courses that might be electives for you are courses that are maybe program requirements for other students. So if you're thinking about you're interested in a film course just as an elective, great. But if you were a cinema studies student, that same course would be a course that would be a program related course for you. So these are all academic courses. These are all um, designed to help teach you and introduce you to the topics. Um, Really, you have access to so much information, so many different options. Please explore. All right. So the blue courses are courses I know I need to take for my intended programs. I've made Psych 100 a yellow course because maybe I'm interested in the psych program. It is a life science program. I'm going to take it. Could end up being an elective. I'm not sure. And then I've picked two other elective courses. Astronomy course, it's a first year foundation course, and I know it's first year foundation because the course codes for first year foundation courses range from 190 to 199. Um, and this Women and Gender Studies full credit course that'll help fulfill a different breadth requirement for me. So those are my 5 credits. All right. So now we're going to move into the timetable builder, and I will go live into the timetable builder to show you how you can make it work. Information that the timetable builder gives you. Um, if the course is an H course, you'll want to know if the course is taught in the F section, which is September to December, or the S section, which is January to April. So F means the first semester, S means the second semester, and you can see the months that are associated with the first or second semester. Or if it's a Y course, if it's taught on the for across the full academic year, which means the course starts in September and the final exam is in April. Other information that the timetable gives you is the class size and available space. It's not updated in real time, but it is updated several times throughout the day. Acorn is updated in real time. So, but you can use a timetable builder if you're looking to enroll in a course. You can see that there are 100 spaces in the course, but already at the, 20 of them are taken up already, maybe by upper year students who may have had an earlier course enrollment day or something. And you get a sense of like, oh, it's pretty likely I'll get a chance to get into this course, or oh, there's only 3 spaces left. I better move on it quickly. Lecture, practical, and tutorials. We covered this a little bit in an earlier slide. Every course has a lecture. Some courses also require a tutorial. These are not optional. These are, if it's listed in the timetable, then it is a required part of the course, as well as the practicals are your labs. The delivery mode, nearly all courses will be in person, but there are still a couple of online course options, or perhaps a section of a course is offered online. You can choose that if that's a preference for you. Enrollment controls, I'll spend a slide coming up talking about enrollment controls, but an enrollment control is a way that the university tries to manage course enrollment so that students who need courses will have access to them over students who might just want to take them as an elective. For example, chemistry 135 and 136 gives priority enrollment to students in a science admission category. So if you're in the humanities or social sciences, for whatever reason you wanted to take your intro chemistry courses, you would not have enrollment access to them on your course enrollment day because you don't meet the priority enrollment control. You'll have to wait till the general enrollment period, which is a week later. And information about course instructors. So if you've done some research and you've heard about a specific instructor that you're dying to take a course from, you can find that information there. And then the last thing we talked about very briefly in the previous session was location on campus. So this is a not to scale campus map, and I've divided it into 3 sections. On from the red bar on the left of that is considered west, and between the 2 red bars is considered central, and from the red bar right is considered east. This is a huge campus, 35 city blocks large. you have 10 minutes to get from class to class. So classes start on the hour. They're listed in the timetable as starting on the hour, but they actually start 10 minutes after the hour. So if a class is listed from 9 to 10, it actually starts at 9:10 and ends at 10. And then if you have a class that starts at 10:10, at 10 o'clock rather, it actually starts at 10:10 and goes until 11. So you have 10 minutes to get from class to class if you have back-to-back classes. This is such a big campus that if you're going from the west end to the east end, 10 minutes might not be sufficient. Generally, 10 minutes is sufficient to get north to south in any one of these three sections, but west to east and east to west, 10 minutes is generally not sufficient. The class locations will be updated in Acorn probably in August. So after you've enrolled in your courses, you might want to go back and revisit and plot it out on a map and see where these courses are, specifically if you have any back-to-back. All right, next. Okay, so this is what the timetable builder looks like. The timetable builder is used across the university. So you'll first want to select the Faculty of Arts and Science and then choose the session that you're interested in looking at. They'll always list the current and the upcoming session. So the current session we're in right now, if you go to the timetable builder, is summer. So you'll have to use these arrows on the side here to drop down to looking for courses that meet in the fall and winter. All right, so I'm going to go into the timetable builder. Okay, can you tell me if you can see this screen?
Yeah, all is good.
All's good, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to choose Faculty of Arts and Science. I'm going to choose fall, winter. All right, and I'm going to start with chemistry, Chem 135, right? So Chem 135 is offered both in the first semester and in the second semester. Chem 135 is a prerequisite to Chemistry 136. So ideally, you take this course in the fall first semester because you're going to want to take it before you take Chemistry 136 in the second semester. You search. Here is the course listing, and you can see there are lectures. Here are the class sizes of the lectures, just so you can get an idea. You can see the course instructors for each of them, and they're all listed at different times. So if you choose lecture section 0101, you'll be in this class Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays from 9 to 10. If you choose this one, 0201, it's Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 11 to 12. You can see that the meeting delivery mode is in person. This evening section, which meets Mondays and Thursdays, so Mondays for 1 hour, Thursdays for 2 hours, meets online, and it's online synchronous. So you have a bunch of different options from which you choose. The one you choose is the one that you stick with. So if you enroll in this section, this one for the whole semester is the one that you attend, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11. Okay, then you can scroll down and you'll find dozens of tutorials, and you can see the tutorial size is much smaller than the lecture size. And it doesn't matter which one you choose, just choose one that best fits into your schedule. And then you can continue scrolling and you'll find the practicals. Practicals for Chem 135 meet every other week. And you can see that the practical meeting sections all end in the number 1 or 2. And this is significant. Significant because if you go to the instructions, it'll show you practical meeting sections end in the number 1 will take place the weeks of these dates. Practical section numbers that end in the number 2 will take place the weeks of these dates. So Chemistry 135 and Bio 120, which is your fall term biology course, have labs that meet every other week. And so if you want to schedule them so that they alternate, so you have bio and then chemistry, bio and then chemistry, bio and then chemistry, you'll want to choose practical section numbers that end in the same number. So Chem 135, practical section ends in say you chose one that ends in the number 1, then for Bio 120, choose a practical section that also ends in the number 1, and then you've scheduled it properly. So for my planning purposes, I'm going to choose this one, and then this random tutorial, and then this one, and you can start to see your plan coming together. So now when I'm scheduling all my other courses, I need to schedule around these times that I have picked. Okay. All right. Timetable. I'm going to go back. Do so 20. Okay. So Bio 120 looks like it has 4 different lecture sections from which you can choose, but you can see here the enrollment control for these 2 sections. It R stands for restricted, and it's restricted to students who are in different admission areas, different faculties. So these 2 sections are not ones you can enroll in, but you can also see that the days and times are all the same. It's just that these 20 spaces are reserved for students in these special categories. Otherwise, you'll all be together anyway in lecture section 0101, Mondays 10 to 11, or if you're looking for fewer students, you could take the course Wednesdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Okay, so if I choose this one, show timetable, you can see now it's starting to get a little busier. And then you'll have to find a lab section. And again, you want to choose a lab section that ends in the number 1 so that that you're scheduling it. You can schedule it actually in the same day and same time if you want. If I'm looking for Wednesday afternoon, I don't know why I can't add that one to my timetable. Here, this one. Okay, looks like a conflict. It's not a conflict because they both end in the number 1. Okay, here's something really annoying. For chemistry 136 and bio 130, which are your winter term bio and chem courses, the rule is different. For students who are looking to schedule labs that meet on the alternating weeks, you have to choose different numbers, lab sections that end in different numbers. So for bio 130 and bio 130 and chemistry 136, when you're looking at their lab sections, you choose numbers that end in different numbers. So for bio 130, if you choose a lab section that ends in the number 1, then for chem 136, you choose a lab section that ends in the number 2. I don't know why the departments have done it like this, and it's very confusing, but that's the way that it is. Okay. So I've done that with all of the courses that I listed that I wanted to take. So I've got my bio, I've got my chemistry, I've got this, looks like a conflict, not a conflict. Here's information, right, about what I was just talking about with the Chem 136 and Bio 130. In the winter term, choose lecture sections that end in opposite digits. I've thought about, things that are important to me. I've planned an opportunity to have lunch around 12 or 1 o'clock every day, right? I'm free from academic obligations at that time. On 3 days of the week, my first class is at 10 a.m., which is great because I'm going to be commuting and I, can come in slightly later. I don't have, other than my Women and Gender Studies course, which ends at 8 p.m., I don't have any courses that are late in the evening. Maybe you have a job and you want to block off one day if you can, or you know that you want to go to the gym every day at a certain time and try and schedule your labs according to your interests. I would try to avoid scheduling your classes so that they're all bunched up on 1 day or 2 days. It just makes those days incredibly intense. try and even out your schedule so you have class, at least some classes or tutorials every day if you can. I have very few back-to-back classes, but I do have a few. And so once the um, building and room locations are posted, then I'll want to go back and make sure that they're not too far apart and I can make it in time. Okay, and here's what my winter term looks like. All right, this again, this timetable, this is just for planning purposes. Once you've settled on sections that you want, then you put all of that information into Acorn. Okay, I talked a bit about enrollment controls already, but here's a list of all the different enrollment controls that you'll run across. In most cases, as first year students, you'll run into priority or restricted. Most often, the other ones not as many, not as much. Priority, the priority date is lifted as of the 24th of July. So if there are any courses that you wanted to enroll in that you didn't have the priority to do so, you'll be able to do it starting July 24th, space dependent. Restrictions never go away. Okay, so as I mentioned, this happens all on Acorn. Acorn is where your course management happens. You do all the planning in the timetable, and then once you get to Acorn on the left-hand navigation, there's a tab for enroll. Click on that, and it provides a drop-down menu for either programs or courses. You select courses, and then literally just start typing in the course that you want to enroll in and add it to your enrollment cart. You can log in now and add courses to your enrollment cart. Starting on July 1st, you'll be able to log in to see what your course enrollment date and time are for first year students. That date is July 16th. Everybody will be assigned a specific time on your course enrollment date in which you'll have access to enrolling in courses. So at that time in the Eastern Standard Time Zone, on July 16th is when you enroll in courses. Okay, and this is the U of T homepage. In the upper right-hand corner of the U of T homepage, you can access Acorn, your U of T email, Quarkus, direct links from there. Okay, so just some advice. Do all of this planning in advance of July 16th. You can make changes after July 16th if you want to refine some things, but plan at least your course schedule before then. Add them to your enrollment cart. It's like online shopping. You do it in advance and then just click enroll on your at your start time on your course enrollment day. Have a couple of options that you know might fit into your schedule if the course that you want is suddenly full when you had the opportunity to enroll in courses. On July 16th, you can enroll in up to 5 credits worth of courses. On the general enrollment day, you can add up to a 6th course. We don't recommend that you take 6 courses, but if you wanted to like try it out for the first 2 weeks and then drop a course, that's okay. But on July 24th, you can add up to a 6th course and enroll in anything that you didn't previously meet the priority enrollment control for. If a course is full, you'll be, in most cases, offer the opportunity to join a waitlist. It's reasonable to join a waitlist if your waitlist position is within 10 to 15% of the total class size, and this is all listed in real time on Acorn. Because course enrollments change. Students add or drop courses or make changes, and students on the waitlist are automatically slotted into spots that are created by other students who are in the course dropping them. Enroll in both the fall and winter term on July 16th, your full academic year. Courses for which you don't meet the enrollment control can't be added to your enrollment cart. So save that for the general enrollment day on July 24th. And you can adjust your courses and sections of courses up until the second week of the term. All right, so the goal is to be registered. Course enrollment is one part of that. The second part of that is paying your fees. Your minimum payment or official fee deferral, if you're using a OSAP or another provincial financial aid, or if you have a scholarship that meets the minimum enrollment, is 50% of your total academic fees. And The deadline to do that is August 11th. Make sure you do that by that date in order to be registered. If you don't make a payment or defer your fees, and all of that'll be explained in the Money Matters presentation that comes up next. The university will assume you're not coming and will remove you from all of the courses that you enrolled in, to which everybody on the wait list will say, hooray, thank you, because they'll all be slotted into those spaces that are now created. All right, we're almost done here. A note about fees. Your fees will be posted to Acorn in mid-July. You will not get a paper invoice sent to you in the mail. Students who are enrolling in 4 credits or more will be paying a flat fee, and that flat fee is based on 5 credits worth of courses. Students who enroll in 3.5 credits or fewer are eligible to pay on a per course fee basis, and pay or defer your fees by August 11th or risk being removed. That would be terrible. Acorn doesn't check for prerequisites or co-requisites, but departments do. So you could be removed from a course that you don't qualify for at some point later on in the term. So make sure that you enroll in courses for which you meet the prerequisites for, that you're eligible to take. As I mentioned, daytime classes start 10 minutes past the hour, but evening classes start directly on the hours. If you're taking a class that starts at 5 or at 6, it starts exactly on that hour, not 10 minutes later. Waitlists for courses turn off about a week or so into the term, but you still have a couple of days after that to enroll in courses. So for example, with the fall, the waitlist will turn off on September 17th, but the last day to enroll in a course is September 21st. And so at that point, you have 4 days to try, and it's first come, first serve at that point to try and get into a course. Acorn is shut down for course enrollment on July 23rd and 28th and on August 4th. So if you log in and you can't enroll in any courses on those dates, that's why. It'll open up again the next day. Okay, oh my gosh, we're getting towards the end. The registrar's office, we're here to help. Please reach out to us. We've got a ton of information to share, and we're happy to answer any question.